Hi everyone. I'm Hils, marketing confidence coach, and this is a mini webinar, a Facebook Live that is all about how to price your services confidently, effectively, and authentically. And this is for really self-employed women who work in the service industry. So whether you're a coach or a consultant or a trainer or a teacher or anything kind of like that, really. If you sell something other than a product, although to be honest, if you sell products, I think this will also be really useful. So I'm going to start with why getting your prices right is essential for business. And it might seem really obvious because it's so important for you to get your prices right. And I'm talking like the right price, not necessarily the lowest or the highest or whatever. So the wrong price can not only be quite detrimental, but can actually be really catastrophic. Because if you think of the financial implications of getting your prices wrong or just pricing your thing kind of incorrectly, which is not what your ideal clients or the marketplace kind of works, then and that could be either too low and you make no money, or you work far too hard and far too many hours to make the money that you need excuse me, or it's too high and perhaps no one buys, right? So it's good to have your prices kind of at the right point. And it could be having your prices incorrect could be the difference between having plenty of clients or none, or not enough. Could be the difference between having more than enough money or enough money and actually struggling to pay your bills each month. It could be the difference between having a lot of ease and flow and excitement in your work and in your business, and feeling actually really stressed and tired and sometimes resentful. Sometimes I think if our prices are too low, we can feel resentful for the work that we're doing for that money. So yeah, for a moment, I just want to take a little step back and to talk about what pricing has to do with marketing. So like when you work for yourself and you birth your business, your idea into the world, it's a creation, I think, that really comes from our heart and soul, and hopefully from your head as well. But I meet so many independent businesswomen, clients and potential clients, that they're great at what they do. They really are good at what they do, but they have no clue how to market themselves. And why would you? This stuff isn't taught in schools. It's not something that we would learn unless you kind of go out of your way to try and learn how to do that, which I did when I started doing business studies in sixth form, and I did a degree in business studies and specialised in marketing. But for most people, no, we don't really understand what marketing is or how to run a successful business. So I wanted to say briefly that marketing isn't just promotion. So what most people think marketing is somebody promoting and selling and that kind of outward kind of marketing of the product or service. But actually, marketing is everything that a potential customer sees of your brand, of your product or your service or your business. So it is your branding, the colors, the fonts that you use, your logo, all of that kind of thing. It's where and how you promote yourself. It's how much you charge, as well as all of the promotions such as like email marketing, social media promotion, that kind of thing. So part of marketing is designing and creating the product and service. It's what goes into it, what it's called, what does it look like, and deciding on how that is positioned in the marketplace. So one of the main keys that you need to be aware of is that to position your brand or service or product, the price and how it relates to the rest of your competitors is a really key way of how we can position our product or business or whatever. Because let's face it, we make a general and very quick judgment on quality based on the price of something, right? So we assume that if something has a high price, that it's high quality, that it's going to be the best experience or the best customer service or the best results, it's going to work. We're going to get the value for money, but the money is high, so the value is high, right? And if something has really low price, then we assume that it is low quality, that we probably won't get the promised results, that it's like yeah, it's kind of cheap and cheerful, maybe the customer service will be terrible or whatever, right? So we make these judgments usually kind of internally and quite quickly based on the price. So it's really essential to get your prices right and to use price as a way of how you position your brand, okay? I can't see your comments, which is really annoying. And I don't want to refresh the page because I did that last time. We had difficulties with the thing. I wonder whether if I go onto my page and I can see it, whether that's going to interfere with the quality of the thing. I don't know why it would, but it might. But it might be a way of me being able to see your comments because for some reason I can see the first two and then I can't see anymore. So I don't know. I will come on to that. So the next thing is I want to talk about the number one mistake that so many service-based businesses make that negatively impacts their sales and their profits. And that is that their prices are far too low, right? And that the right people are actually turned off your product, service, or business because your prices are too low. You might be attracting some people, but you're probably not attracting the right people or the people that you want to be attracting. So I have kind of a question, which is, you know, would you rather have like 10 lovely clients who you love working with and who pay you really well? Or would you rather have like B, would you rather have 20 clients that are actually really hard work, they push your boundaries all the time, you know, they're constantly like cancelling sessions last minute, and you know, you're working more than double the time, double the hours, and making basically the same money. You know, obviously everybody would want scenario A and not scenario B. But the reality is that most service-based self-employed women are more in the category B scenario, right? So you probably know already if you're not charging enough for what you do, but I'm going to just go through a couple of points, a few points that will help you kind of see if you're not charging enough. So you'll know you're not charging enough if you feel the pressure of essentially you're not earning enough, right? So you're not even earning enough to cover your basic needs. You're having your basic needs met. You try to work harder, which can often include longer hours because you know that, you know, you get paid this much per hour. If you work longer hours, then you'll get more money. And that's true if you are trading time for money, like a massage therapist who essentially gets paid by the hour, but that's not really the right way to do it. I'll come on to that later. And the next one is you'll know you're undercharging if you're working with the people that you don't really want to be working with. They're not your ideal clients. Okay, so your ideal one of the attributes of your ideal clients is that they can afford to pay what you want to charge, right? So that's good to remember that. So another thing is that your client retention might be really low. So again, if you're kind of a massage therapist or something like that, you know, you might be constantly getting new clients in, perhaps because you're the cheapest or you discount or lots of special offers or things like that, but you're kind of constantly having to find new clients, and that is A, more expensive, B, well, more expensive in time and money, essentially an effort to gain more new clients instead of seeing the, you know, the same clients over and over. It's much less work. And the last one is that you may feel really scared or really wobbly at the thought of raising your prices. Or you think, when you think about doing it, you kind of hear the inner voice saying, you can't charge that, or, you know, no one will pay that. And this could be really common. I was working with a client a couple of weeks ago and we were looking at one of her services and she was like, oh, no, I think it should be this price. And I was like, that's way too cheap. How about this price? And she was like, ooh, like I'm not, you know, it will take time for her to kind of grow into that, and that's okay too. So, yeah, I mean, annoyingly, I can't see the comments, but I will look at them all later, and I'd love to have, if you're willing to admit that you're undercharging, that you know you're undercharging, please just pop in the comments and say, yes, that's me, hand up, I think I'm undercharging. And it is so common, especially for women, because we tend to undervalue ourselves more than men do. It's just one of those gender things, and I'm going to come on to in a moment. There was an article that I read last week that was kind of around this. So So the next thing I wanted to look at was the 4 reasons why it's so hard to put a price on what you do. Okay, because, and again, you can comment with, why do you find it so hard to put a price on what you do? And pricing your services is a really tough thing to do, right? It is something that I think we all struggle with, and understanding why will, I think, help you kind of unpack the issues and reasons so that they can stop having such an effect on your pricing decisions and how confident you feel in sharing your prices. So, and again, I can't see your comments. It's really, really frustrating. I'd really love to chat. Oh, hold on. They've popped up again. Yay, and I've got a like running across the screen. Awesome. Yes, I think I'm undercharging. Thank you. I'm an artist and really struggle to get the prices right. Yeah, it's so, so common. Thank you for commenting, and I'm so glad that I can see your comments finally. For some reason, Facebook has started to work properly. So let's go into those 4 reasons that I've identified, which is why setting your prices is just really, really hard thing to do, right? So the first one is that I mean, most of us hold tons of guilt and shame and anxiety around money in general, right? And especially about what to charge. So, especially people in the healing industries, I find. So, people like, even like myself, coaches, therapists, workshop facilitators, body workers, light workers, yoga teachers, etc. Our motives are to genuinely help people, okay? And I don't think any of us get in it for the money. We don't, there's no idol that's a massage therapist that's earning like 6 figures and we're like, oh, I so want to be that person, right? It kind of doesn't happen. We don't get into it for the money, but you absolutely need to earn a decent living. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. If you can't sustain yourself, then you're going to go out of business and you're going to have to find another income stream. So it has to be sustainable. And it's like we feel guilty about charging for things that I think a lot of the time in our belief system we believe should be true for free for everyone, not just the privileged few that can afford it. Okay, so we can feel guilty, and we can also feel guilty about charging for something that we really love doing, something that we really enjoy, and often as well something that feels really easy, right? So it's like, I love coaching clients on marketing and confidence, and I find it quite easy, and I really, and I really enjoy it. And it's like, yeah, some of us can actually feel really guilty about doing that, which is kind of silly, but these are some of the issues that that kind of underpin our pricing decisions, which I'm going to come on to. But I think we really have to tackle this, and I think we have to start talking openly about money. Culturally, it's not okay to talk about money, especially about what someone earns. It's really taboo to ask someone how much they earn. And it's like there's this underlying unconscious thing, and like money's dirty, and all these other beliefs. So that's the first one, is there's a lot of emotion and guilt and all sorts of things wrapped up in money, and also about what to charge. So the second one is that pricing is both an art and a science, okay? So there's kind of no right or wrong way to price a service or a product, and it definitely isn't a black or white decision. There isn't a one way to do it. There isn't a formula that you just go, you follow these steps and you find the magic price, right? There isn't a magic formula that tells you what to charge. And this is more so for services than it is for products, but even for products, the same things will come up and affect your pricing decisions. So yes, you can, and I think you should do your market research, right? Understand what other people are charging who are in your industry or in your area, or essentially in competition to you. And then the art part, so that's kind of the science part, like look at the numbers, what are other people charging, and look at your costs and things like that. And then the art part is carefully positioning yourself and your brand based on kind of that data, so that information. Yeah. So, and then the third reason I think it's really hard to actually, come up with the right price, is that pricing can feel intricately linked to your value and your worth. Okay, so to price your services, because it's so much part of you, it kind of means you need to put a monetary value on yourself, your time, your expertise, and what you do, right? And like, what a scary and vulnerable thing to do. It's not easy to do that, and most women struggle at times with self-esteem and self-confidence. And yeah, there was an article that I read last week that was about the confidence gap. It was very interesting. It was about some scientific research that they did, that someone did around how women tend to underestimate our abilities and achievements, and men tend to overestimate their abilities and achievements. So no one is kind of in reality, but we go under, they go over. And I just think, if we're underestimating our abilities and our achievements, then we're very likely to be undervaluing ourselves and what we do and what we offer, right? So I think that's a really big one. I think that's a really, really big one. And I think it's something that needs addressing. And then the fourth reason is, it's like, how can you price something that's really rather intangible, right? Like a service. So whether it's a hypnosis session or a coaching session or a massage, whatever, it's like, how can you put a price on that? It's like, it's really hard to do. Or perhaps something totally unique, like Alison, you're saying you're an artist. It's like, how do you put a price on a piece of art, whether it's commissioned or not? It's like, it's bespoke, it's completely unique. How do you put a price on that? And like, if you're a coach, how do you put a price on, or a value on, holding space for someone, even though you know that things come out of that? So it's really, really hard to put a price on what you do. So if you're struggling with it, it's like, I want you to give yourself a break and be like, it is really hard, okay? It's really hard to do. So I want to also, because it was really related, I want to look at how fear and emotion can massively affect your pricing decisions, like what prices you choose and how you come to the price that you want to set for a particular service. So, and I hear often from women that one of their biggest fears is that they won't earn enough and that they'll have to give up, or that they don't know how to earn enough while staying in their integrity, and staying authentic. So that's really big things, because no one wants to be out of their integrity. No one that I work with, definitely. And no one wants to, and you don't want to rip anyone off. I totally get it. But I also get that a lot of you probably want to be affordable, right? This is something that I hear quite a lot. And yeah, it's like, yes, you want to offer value, you want to be accessible, but sometimes trying to be so affordable can actually mean that you're undercharging for what you do. And I think that one of the biggest issues as well is that you're probably not the only one that's undercharging. It's like, if everybody undercharges, then it's really difficult. It's really difficult, because how do you be the only one that doesn't undercharge, kind of thing, right? So it's really hard. But if everybody is undercharging, then people start to undercharge, and it's like, where does it end? So yeah, definitely you want to be in business, you want to offer value, but you also need to pay your bills. You also need to get your basic needs met, and hopefully a lot more. You didn't leave a job or set up in business to slave away and only just have enough. You want to be comfortable, I'm sure. You want to have more than enough. And you want to honor you need to honor your time, your training, your energy, your expertise, all of those things. So I've got a list of, there's so many things at play which affect how you price your services, and I think it's really important to understand. So I'm just going to go through them. The first one is your sense of self-worth and value. So we've already kind of mentioned that, but that definitely can affect, how you price things. Wanting to be authentic and in integrity and not rip anyone off definitely has an effect. Wanting to be affordable and accessible and offer good value to your clients can definitely have an effect. And it's because it can feed into essentially the next one, which is wanting to avoid negative judgments. So this next one is essentially the fear of judgment from others, because you might be charging too much. It's like, what would be the worst thing that someone could say about your service or your price? Is like, how can she charge that? Or, you're charging too much, or you're not worth that, or, it's like, ow, that's really going to hurt. So we have a lot of fear around, the potential judgments, and that can again affect our pricing decision. and your fear that you're not good enough. Oh, I hear this so often from women. You know, the fear that comes out is like, I'm not sure I'm good enough. Am I really offering enough value? I'm not sure that I know enough to be able to charge, you know, X. So again, it causes us to undercharge. Your fear that you're not earning enough to make your business sustainable and that you'll have to give up. So again, if you price things, if you make your pricing decisions from this place of like panic or desperation of like, I really need to bring the money in this month and I need to just do a special offer, or, you know, or I need more people, therefore I'll lower the price or whatever. It's like, and that can work both ways. You know, we can undercharge because of that kind of fear and panic, or we can actually overcharge going like, no, but I need to be earning more, and so I'm going to put the price here, right? But it doesn't work. If your price is wrong, if it's too high or too low, excuse me, it's just not going to work. So the next one is thinking that you're not experienced enough, and this is especially if you're just starting out. I hear there's a lot again. You know, if you're new to it and it's it's maybe you've retrained and it's a new thing, it can be really hard to kind of price yourself appropriately because you just think, well, I haven't got the kind of experience that other people have got. Still can't see your comments. They did start coming and then now they've stopped scrolling, so maybe they will start again. So I'm really sorry if I'm kind of just I'm not ignoring you. I'd love to hear from you, but yeah, they're just not being shown on my screen, which is weird. So a couple more. So guilt about charging for something that you believe should be free, which we talked about earlier, and something that you enjoy or find easy. And then the last one, which is actually really a big one, is like your deepest money mindset issues and beliefs, and these are often instilled in childhood, and this is a massive topic, not something that we can go into today, but these kind of things that are often handed down to us from parents or primary caregivers can really have a massive effect on how we price things. So any of these things, and look at how many I came up with, and there's probably loads more. There's probably extra ones that you can see. You know, all of these can lead you to not charging enough for what you do, or just getting your prices like totally wrong one way or the other. But I believe that you kind of have to take the emotion out of your pricing decision. So it needs to be a balanced decision, and I tend to work with the head, the heart, and the hara, which is kind of your gut, your second chakra. And you know, I think we need to be centered in all three to be able to make really good decisions, and particularly when it comes to pricing, so that we're not listening to the fear, we're not listening to the panic, we're actually coming from a more centered place, and that will really help you if you can do that. So again, really sorry I can't see your comments. That's really annoying, and they'll probably suddenly pop up at some point. I'd love to interact, so thank you for commenting. Please do keep commenting, and I'm going to come back and look at them and yeah, answer them if need be. So the next thing is why it's important to find the right price and not necessarily the lowest price. So, you know, I am not saying any of this, like if any of this resonates, I'm not saying, well, then you should raise your prices, right? It's just because it's not as simple as that. I believe that if you do feel that you need to raise your prices, there's some work that you need to do in order to be able to do that and for it to work. So if you can't confidently say your price, this is a big one, right? You need to really feel it and embody it. And if you can't do that, then your potential clients are going to feel the lack of confidence, and it will essentially backfire. You know, we pick up on energies unconsciously, and something like lack of confidence will, you know, your potential clients would definitely pick up on that. And then what will happen is that you'll conclude that putting your prices up, you know, you put them up too high and it didn't work, and you'll put them back down again. And it might not be that you put your prices up too high, it might just be that you weren't able to fully own and embody that price. So I think finding the right price for your services is really important. And what I mean by the right price is the price that's right for you. Okay, so the price that brings you enough money, feels in integrity, you know, and creates a sustainable business for yourself, and the price that is right for your ideal client. So it's like the price that they are happy to pay because they absolutely get the value in what you do. So And it's like your ideal clients may already, probably quite unconsciously, have an idea of the kind of price that they would pay, willing to pay for the kind of service that you offer. And if your price is too low for your ideal clients, it may actually put them off, right? So this is the big thing about having low prices. Back to that, the assumptions that we make. If your price is too low, you might actually be putting off the people that you really want to work with. Equally, if it's too high for them and for you, they may go elsewhere. I do think, however, most women fall into the trap of undercharging rather than overcharging. Although some do overcharge, and if they can't embody that confidently, then that it does backfire. Because I want you to make more money, I want you to have more clients, I want you to charge appropriately for your services, what you really are worth and what you deserve. And I want you to be able to continue having a business that sustains you and everything that you need for your life. So and I think that how to price your services effectively, authentically and confidently. So as I've said, pricing your services is not easy, right? And there are many aspects that underpin and affect the pricing decision. And I just had something pop up on my screen, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, and I actually think that in order to price your services effectively, you need to not be setting your prices by yourself, right? Now, it's going to sound a bit weird, but I just don't think it's something that you should do alone. So at the absolute minimum, I think you should always get a second and third opinion from people that you trust, ideally someone who is, reflective of your ideal client, but it could be anyone, it could be a business friend or whatever. Don't ask your best friend, don't ask your partner, don't ask your mum, right? They are not impartial. You need someone who's a little bit impartial and who understands what you do. However, ideally, I think you need to get support by working either with a coach like myself or be facilitated within a group setting. And working on this in a group with an experienced coach will really help you to move through your money or self-worth blocks and help you find the right prices for your services. Because as I was saying, when you find the right price, you then need to be able to confidently embody that price. You need to be able to feel really happy and totally confident so that you can share that price with potential clients. You can ask for the sale. You can feel relaxed with it because they're going to feel whatever you're feeling. And you want your ideal clients to be happy to hand over the money and to feel like they're getting absolute value. So in my upcoming workshop in Bristol in November, which I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to share some information about kind of what we're going to do in the workshop, we're going to do some really powerful work and some powerful practices so there's a powerful practice that's going to help you find your resonant price. So it's like a kind of an intuitive practice that you need a group for, but you can also, once you've learned it, you'll be able to go away and do that for yourself with your future services and prices. Plus, we're going to do some really deep and powerful practices to help you feel really confident saying your prices. This is the embodiment piece, and this is super, super important because, as I said, if you set a new price but you haven't fully embodied and owned that value in yourself, if you don't feel fully confident in kind of saying it and asking for the sale or asking for payment, then your potential clients are going to feel that. And if you don't ask for the sale and you don't ask for money, then you're probably not going to get paid. So you have to get really good at that, and it doesn't have to feel icky, right? It really doesn't have to feel icky, but they're going to be turned off if you don't do that in an authentically confident way, and that's what all my work is around, being authentic and confident. So if you need help with confidently setting the right price and saying your prices to potential clients or asking for the sale, please do check out the workshop. I'm going to post a comment underneath when this is done. The early bird price ends in a week's time, and there's a limited number of early bird tickets. If you're a member of my Facebook group, the Courageous Women's Collective, then you can get a 10% discount on the early bird price and on the full price. So it really makes it really affordable and really accessible, I think, for everyone. And if you can't make the workshop, either because you're not in Bristol or you just can't make the workshop, or if you don't like working in groups and you just want to work one-to-one, then I'm offering anyone who's watched this webinar an hour-long session with me, a one-to-one session that will be online, and it's basically about the same price as the workshop. It's going to be a special price of £50 for an hour, and if you book and pay that by the end of October, so it's a limited offer. You need to book and pay by the end of October, £50, one-to-one session, and we'll just focus on how you can price and say your prices confidently. So do check out the workshop. I'm going to comment underneath, and yeah, either there's the workshop or the one-to-one session, and I'd love to work with as many of you as possible. Again, really sorry I can't see your comments. It's really frustrating because I would love to respond to any questions that you have. So yeah, do check it out if you struggle with any of it. And I know that, you know, if you implement what you learn in the workshop or in the one-to-one session, it's like you'll be able to pay that back so quickly. So if you're kind of struggling with money and you're a bit like, oh, but I can't afford to go, it's like, can you really afford not to, and for your situation to continue? Whereas if you learn these things, then you could change your situation and actually start charging more or getting more clients at the price that you already are charging. So before I pop off, there was a question posted in the event from Louise Davies. So I'm going to answer that because it was quite an interesting one as well, and I think useful for everyone. So the question was, I'm going to read it out, said, not sure if others get this, but dog owners will often inquire about my services. So she does doggy daycare and dog walking and things like that, but then say, but I paid my previous dog walker or daycare provider X amount, and they expect me to offer a discount or to match the previous person's price. I have thought about how to respond. Do I justify my cost? Do I suggest that perhaps the other person has been charging that for some time? Do I point out that I would feel incredibly disloyal to my current clients if I started giving out discounts to some and not others? Or do I just say, no worries, get in touch if you change your mind? She says that she usually ends up doing the last one. So thank you so much for your question. Really, really great question. So there'd be a few things that I would want to work with you on. Firstly, do you feel really fully confident with the prices that you are charging? And if not, you would need to work on that. And yeah, I think, you know, for me, I think you need to focus on explaining the benefits of your service and why you're different maybe from other people, not naming any names of other people, but just focus on the benefits of what you offer. And you could ask them if they have any questions about what you offer. You could say, I think the only one out of kind of the ones that you suggested is that, yeah, that you can't offer discounts to anyone else because it would be unfair to, you know, other clients. And you could perhaps point out that the services and quality differ, but that you're unable to kind of comment and that you're not willing to get into that kind of conversation around comparing, you know, your price, excuse me, with someone else's price. I definitely wouldn't comment on other people's services or other people's prices. You know, just don't get into that conversation around like, well, but I know that they're not as good, or, you know, they employ people who aren't qualified, or, you know, just don't even go there. I would focus on just the value that you're offering. And a couple of things like internally, like a conversation with you is like, remember that, you know, they're shopping probably, if they're asking about the price, they're probably shopping purely on price, in which case they won't be very loyal customers because they will probably just keep shopping around and go with whoever is cheapest. Not necessarily, but it's a risk, right? And also remember that you're selling something more than just the service that you're selling, you know, and it's like, what else are you selling? Are you selling peace of mind, which I know we've kind of talked about before? It's like, but are you selling that all your people are qualified, or are, you know, I know you're an expert just in small breeds, so again, it's like your expertise could, you know, say that you there's the good reason why you're offering a higher price, because you're very specialized in these kind of dogs, you've been working with them for a long time, that kind of thing. And what's the other thing? Yeah, so it's all about how you're positioning your services essentially. And a lot of the time when people ask about the price or they balk at the price, it's because they're not seeing the value. So you need to help them see the value of what you do, and then the price should probably make sense. Yeah, does that make sense? So, and also, again, an internal thing, I wouldn't say this to them, but I would wonder why they're looking for new doggy daycare or a new dog walker. Did their previous one go out of business? Maybe they did, because she probably wasn't charging enough? Or did they turn out to be crap? Did they have issues with them? Was the customer service crap? Was it not very convenient? You know, all of these things. So it's kind of like, I would hold that as just something for you to be like, well, they're obviously looking for new daycare for, you know, doggy daycare for a reason. So yeah, you're still the solution to their problem. And yeah, and I just think whatever your reply, just stay in your confidence, practice as well. It's a good idea to practice anything like that. If that's a kind of conversation that you have regularly, it's good to maybe make some notes, prep, you know, like prep yourself and practice. So I'm really sorry I can't see your comments. If you have questions, do plug them in or let me know how you found it. I'd really appreciate that. And if you found it really useful, please share it. Please consider yeah, coming on my workshop. I think you'll find it really, really useful. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I'm so sorry again for all the technical issues. Thank you for those who have stayed with me. I really appreciate that. And if you have any questions, you know, just ask in the comments or send me an email to hils@hilscrisp.com. Thank you so much for watching, much appreciated, and I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.